Okay, thanks for coming along. We will be kicking off in about 30 seconds. You are in the right place if you've come to learn about Immersive Reader and accessibility. Thanks for coming along, everybody. We are about to kick off. Hopefully you can hear me and see something on the screen. We will be recording as well if you've come in late.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon all. On behalf of Solutions IT, I'd just like to welcome you to this webinar. As Stephen has just pointed out, it will be recorded and can be accessed by the Solutions IT news page. So that's solutionsit.com.au/news. Today we've got Stephen Payne from Standout Education, and he is joined by Amanda Frampton, who is a Microsoft Learning Delivery Specialist, and she'll be helping with the Q&A. Over to you, Steve.
Thanks, Sarah. And thanks, Amanda, for helping out. Just a little bit of housekeeping. In the middle of the screen, if you're on a computer or if you're on a phone, you should see a little question mark. So if you have got a question for us, if you put the question in there, then that will come to me and Amanda and Sarah, and we'll be able to answer that. If it's a particularly useful question for everybody else, we will publish that and you'll be able to see all the Q&As as we go through today. Also, if I mention a website or Amanda or Sarah found a useful link, they will share that with an announcement during today, so you can pick those up. But we'll share all of the links and resources on the Solutions IT website after today. So here we go. We're going to look at Immersive Reader and some of the accessibility tools available from Microsoft. So the whole idea is for people to use technology to be the best they can be. So be the best learner, be the best teacher, be the best person. And that doesn't matter what abilities you have and what disabilities you have, you're able to engage with the technology that's provided to you. And all the things we're going to show you today are freely available to schools in Western Australia and indeed further afield if you're joining us outside of WA. So there are accessibility features for all of the different needs that people have through learning differences, visual, hearing, mobility, neurodiversity and mental health. If you go to microsoft.com/accessibility, you'll be able to find lots more information than we can get through in the next half hour. We are particularly focused today on the classroom. So I'm going to show you a few things that can help with reading, writing, maths and general communication. So I'm showing a PowerPoint presentation now, but I will be able to flick through to a live demonstration via the web, and also I'll be showing a couple of things in OneNote. One thing worth mentioning as we're talking about accessibility is that you are able to see live subtitles of what I'm talking about. So if you look on your screen, whether it's an iPad, a phone or a computer, you should see a little CC button, which stands for closed captions. If you click that, you should be able to see exactly what I'm saying pretty much in real time. So do give that a try. I can't see it on my screen, but I'm told it works pretty well. Let's start with reading support. I'm first of all going to talk to you about the Immersive Reader, and this is kind of what I think is the flagship accessibility product in the Microsoft suite. So Immersive Reader is a tool that's available right across different Microsoft products, and the easiest way to show you it is to demonstrate it. So I'm going to try and switch over live to my website. Here we go, I'm on the web here. And I've just logged on to office.com. So if you work at a school or are a student at a school or university, you have access to office.com. You just go to office.com and you log in with your school email address. You've got access to Word, OneDrive, your email, PowerPoint, and lots of other tools that we won't be going through today, but I'm just going to focus on Word. So if I go into this Word document here, this is just a document. It could have been provided by a teacher for a student to read. And I'm just going to show you this tool which you have in Word called Immersive Reader. If I go to my toolbar at the top and click on View, I've got the option to go into Immersive Reader. Now I'm showing you this in Word, but Immersive Reader, as I'll explain shortly, is available in lots of other products as well. So what Immersive Reader does is it takes whatever text is on the screen and it brings it up full screen so that you can actually focus on that text without any distractions. So if there were any images or borders and things like that in your document, that would all be stripped out and you've just got the text. You can then listen back to that text. So put your headphones on and you can listen back to whatever text is on the screen. But there's also some really great tools to support people with different visual differences or different ways of learning with text. So this is great for beginner readers or readers of or speakers of other languages, as well as those with dyslexia. So I'll just show you very quickly a few of the things that you can do. If you click on the A in the corner, you've got the ability to change the size of the text. So if you've got poor vision, you can make it nice and large. You can change the spacing, which will make it easier to read for many people. Oh dear, spelling mistake. I'll check my spelling later. I can also change the background color. So if you've got someone who needs things on a green background or a yellow background, you can change that. And the great thing about this is I can provide a Word document and share it to a whole class, and the students can read it in the font and the color that suits them. So really nice to be able to personalize that for yourself. So that's really great that you can just click on the A and change that and set it up for you. It will remember the colors and the settings for next time as well. What I can also do is go to grammar options and choose to break words into syllables. So that will certainly help if I am need help with reading. Breaking words into syllables can really help with that. And I can also choose to color code parts of speech. So I could have nouns in purple, verbs in red, and so on. And that's really great for helping you comprehend the text that's been provided to you. But also as a student, if you're writing your own stories or essays in Word or OneNote, you can actually come and listen back to them and check that you're using nouns and verbs and adjectives and so on. So that's really useful. Then finally, you've got reading preferences. So you can do things like focus just on one line at a time. So you haven't got to, you're not bombarded with all the text above and below. You can just scroll down the page and read one line at a time or 3 lines at a time, or the entire document. The other thing you can enable is the picture dictionary. So what the picture dictionary allows is when you click on a word, it actually gives you a graphical representation of that word as well. So we've got a few different pictures of water and drink, mountain, and so on. And what you'll also notice is when you click on a word, you get the ability just to listen to the pronunciation of that word. So that can be a really useful tool to engage students with Immersive Reader. Finally, you can choose to translate to other languages. I was working with a student who spoke German last week, so I've got German here. And if I change, if I say by word, then I can click on a word and it gives me the English and the German, and I can listen to the translated word as well. So that's really great if you have got students who speak another language or read another language better than English. This can certainly help them with their reading. Or you can even change the whole document just by clicking document, and then within a couple of seconds the whole document is then changed into German, and you can listen back to that in German. So you bring up the Immersive Reader by going into a Word or other document and looking for this Immersive Reader button. It's normally under View, and it's a book with a little speaker icon. So that's Immersive Reader. I'm just going to show you a couple of other things about that. So I've demonstrated that you can change the background colours and the languages and that sort of thing. And it's actually available in a whole range of different tools. So you can see here in OneNote, you've got the picture dictionary, the translation. There's also maths equation that we're coming to later on. You've also got it in Word, Outlook, and also in Microsoft Edge, the web browser. It's in Teams, Microsoft Forms, Flipgrid, Minecraft, Office Lens, and there are other third-party apps that are also including Immersive Reader. So it's a really flexible tool that you can pick up and use right across the Microsoft suite. So great for students reading independently. You can use it across phones and iPads as well. Great for language lessons, but also engaging with families who speak other languages as well. So I'm just going to pause there and see if there are any questions. Amanda?
There is some questions, Steve. A couple of people are saying that they've got some issues turning on the closed captions. And yeah, there's a couple of those.
Okay, so I can't really help with that. What you'll see is a little, let me just choose a different pen. It will totally depend on what platform you're using. But if you look for the CC icon, it should be on your screen. Just click that and you'll see the live captions. Thanks.
There's no other questions at this point.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, really great for students with dyslexia. It's there's been some independent studies that you can have a look at. I want to just quickly mention Office Lens, which also includes the Immersive Reader. Office Lens is an app that you can download for iPad, but also for iPhone and Android. I use it all the time on my Android phone, and basically it's just a camera or a pocket scanner. You can download it through the App Store, and what it does is when you take a photo of something, it will actually center it, straighten it up so that you can actually read it, and it will actually read it to you with the Immersive Reader. So if you take a picture of a document lying down on the page, it will actually crop out the table and refocus the drawing. And that's great. So you can take a photo of a whiteboard if you've been doing some writing on a whiteboard, or a picture from a book. You can take a photo of a page from a book and interact with it in that way. So if I just show you how I've done that in OneNote. So here, for example, let's just bring that up full screen. This is actually a photograph that I've taken with the Office Lens app. So it's actually cropped out the table and just concentrated on the text. But the neat thing about that is, because it's now been brought into OneNote, I can actually go to View Immersive Reader. And just like we were looking at Immersive Reader online, it's actually reading the text from the photograph. So that's great if you've got an out of print exercise textbook or poetry book. You can just bring that in and interact with it. Also on Windows, you can right click and copy the text from a picture. So if you've got, so here I've just copied the text, I can then go on and edit that and highlight it and all that sort of stuff. So I can actually take content that I've already created, perhaps years ago in a printed worksheet or book, and actually now breathe some fresh life into that. Similarly, when I work with schools, or I'm doing something on a whiteboard to come up with some ideas, I'll take a photo of the whiteboard with Office Lens at the end of the session. And the neat thing about using Office Lens is it automatically crops out the rest of the wall, and it removes the glare from light as well. So you can actually, well, my writing is not very great, but you can actually read and see what I've drawn. That's just on a standard whiteboard in a classroom that I've done that. So Office Lens is a really useful tool for bringing content into Office 365 and sharing it with students.
Steve, I'm just going to come off mute for a second, because one of my favourite things, it's not necessarily accessibility, but in our current environment for online learning, taking pictures of student work with Office Lens and uploading it, just like their handwriting or like a piece of work that they've done it'll calibrate it all for them rather than them having to muck around with editing it, etc. So yeah, just add that one in there. It's my favourite hack in OneNote at the moment.
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah, so download the Office Lens app for your phone. Definitely, I use it all the time, and I definitely recommend it, and great for using when students are working at home. They can use it on an iPad or a phone as well, with their parents can use it. Great. So I'm just going to mention a couple of things now about writing in Office 365. So you can obviously write in Word or OneNote. They're probably the two most useful tools for just jotting down notes or writing a story and those sorts of things. And there's a couple of things that are new or fairly recent, and that's dictation, edit and editor I'm going to focus on today. So when you're actually writing in a Word document, sometimes it can be quite hard just to sit down and start writing. But if you've come up with ideas, or you're someone who thinks visually or likes to speak things out loud, there's now a dictator tool that's now built into Office 365. So you'll see here, I'm in a Word document. If I just go to the bottom of this Word document, I'll just type hello to check that it's working, and there's now a dictate button. So whether you're in Word or OneNote, you can now dictate directly onto the screen. So you just need to choose the language that you speak. So I don't speak English Australian. I've got more of a UK accent, so I'll click that and I'll just go dictate. And it's going to use my microphone. Okay, how are we going? It didn't like that. It might be because it's probably because I'm using my microphone in the call as well, so I can't do that. You'll have to try that out yourself. But yeah, just click dictate and you can start dictating, and whatever you say will be typed directly onto the screen for you. So that can be great if you're just coming up with ideas. I think that didn't work because I was using it elsewhere, but you also see that in OneNote as well as Word. So give that a try yourself. Have I got the? Sorry, I'm just going forward here. No, I'm going to go back to the editor. So one of the things you can do now, I'll just show you very briefly online. You will have noticed that water was underlined because I have spelt it wrong. You've probably seen those red underlines for a little while. But if I just right click there, it will come up with suggestions of what it could be. But also here you'll see it says there was an added bonus too, and that's been underlined. So let's right click, and it says here more concise language would be clearer for your reader. So because a bonus, I guess because a bonus is something that's been added, I don't need to use the word added as well. So I can actually click that, and that just clears up my writing. So one of the things now that you've got in Word is under review, you can actually choose what you get alerted about. So you can be alerted about spelling, but you can also be alerted for unnecessary hyphens or who-whom confusion or double negation or jargon or informal language or gender bias. And you can decide what you want to actually concentrate on so that you don't get totally overwhelmed With younger students, you might just be focusing on spelling. But if you're a teacher writing a formal report, you might want to make sure that you are using correct language, and you're not using jargon, and you're using gender sensitive language and all that kind of stuff. So that's a really useful tool that you can bring into Editor, and that works online. Where I am now, I'm just in the web browser, but it also works in Word on your desktop. So that's the editor. And like I said here, tackling everything at once can be overwhelming. So you can just turn on the spelling, and then maybe the grammar for older students, and then some of the more advanced things for formal writing. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about dictation. I changed the order. So when you dictate, you can also say the punctuation to actually make your text flow better. So if you actually say, you can say period, or as we probably say more in this country, we can say, sorry, I'm just clicking all over the screen here. We can also say full stop, and it will automatically put in a full stop. You can say new paragraph, question mark, all those sorts of things while you're dictating, and that can actually help you write your text. So I'm going to show you a few of the things that you can do with maths now. As I started my career as a high school maths teacher, so I get very excited about any time I can sneak in some maths into somewhere unsuspectingly. Hopefully everyone's still on the call. I won't do too much maths. I'll just do a little bit. So one of the things you can do now in Office 365 is actually support maths. So with inside OneNote in particular, you can convert ink to maths, but it will also solve equations and draw graphs and things like that. So all of the things that we looked at earlier for reading, quite often you might have someone who's great at maths but struggles with the reading side of things, so can't handle the word problems. So that's where the Immersive Reader can help with adding some imagery and focusing on the text. And then we can actually use some of the maths features within OneNote. And the Immersive Reader will also read maths equations pretty accurately as well, right up to high school maths and beyond. So let me just show you a couple of examples there. I've got I think I've started writing some equations. Oh no, I haven't, but I will now. So if I just write a simple equation here, like 2x minus 2 equals 24. There we go. I say simple, but it might not be simple for some. Let's see if I can solve it in OneNote. So what I can do is I can write an equation, and then I can select that equation and click the maths tool. And what it will do, it will actually look at my handwriting and work out that I've written an equation, and then I can choose to solve for x. So it tells me that x is 13. So 2 times 13, 26 minus 2 is 24. And then it will actually show me the steps. So that's great. So rather than just tell me the answer, it will actually show me the steps. And I can even click Immersive Reader, and it will read those steps to me as well. So that's kind of bringing the English and the maths together there. So that works with equations like that. Also works with more advanced equations, but also simpler equations. So if I just wanted to check what 33 times 4 is, you may be able to do that in your head, but I'm going to try and do it quickly up here. Math, evaluate, and it solved it for me. Another thing you can do if you're using Office 365 is generate a practice quiz. And what that will do is that'll take whatever sum or equation you've done, and it will generate a quiz based on what you've said. It will use Microsoft Forms to do that, and it will just put that onto the OneNote page. So I'm doing this in the OneNote app, but it also works in OneNote online. Just one other thing there, if I've got an equation like this, y equals 2x squared minus 2, that's really a formula, and I go to math, it will actually graph it for me as well, and I can choose to insert that on the page. So it can really help you get to grips with some of the maths features. It will also then go on and show me all of the different parts of the graph as well. So it's a really useful tool, and it works on the OneNote app, but also online. That is all the maths I'm going to show you today. I want to talk a little bit about Translator and where you can find translation options. So I'm currently in PowerPoint. And what you have built into PowerPoint is a tool called Microsoft Translator that allows you to show live subtitles when you're presenting a PowerPoint. I haven't got them switched on at the moment, but there's also an app that you can get for your phone or on the web called Microsoft Translator. And this is really great if you're having those one-on-one conversations with someone, or you're talking to people who perhaps need to speak in another language. Really simple. You can just start a conversation, type in the name and the language you speak. Then you're given a code that you can share with other people, and they can just join in. So I've actually used this in lectures where I've been presenting, speaking in English, and people have been following along live on their mobile phones and iPads in whatever language they speak. And the great thing about this is you could be talking to a parent who doesn't speak English very well. They can write a question in Polish, and you'll see the question come up in English, you reply in English, and they'll see the response in Polish. So it's a really great tool. And it also has now those facilities built into PowerPoint. So I'm just going to show you that very quickly. If I go back online and I open up a PowerPoint here, so I've literally just gone to Office 365, office.com, and I can upload any existing PowerPoint. You don't need to do anything fancy with it. I've just uploaded a PowerPoint, opened it up. And what you'll see here is under slideshow, you've got the ability to always use subtitles, or you can choose the what language they are. So if I now present this PowerPoint, this is really brave using all this technology at once. Okay, so in this presentation, we have lots of pictures on the screen, and we are talking about Microsoft Teams. So whatever I'm saying now will be shown on the screen in English. So that's great. Those are live subtitles happening live. If I just pause that, I can also change that so that the subtitles are in a different language. So I'll choose German because I know a little bit of German. And now when I press start. Good afternoon, everybody. I am going to show you how you can use Microsoft technologies to help you learn. So that's a really great feature. That actually uses the Microsoft Translator app, but built into PowerPoint. I'm just going to show you one other thing in PowerPoint, which is really powerful for students. If students have to give live presentations or feedback in front of a class, or give a group presentation back, there's this really great tool now called Rehearse with Coach. So what I'm going to do is just show you it. So imagine I've got this presentation here, and it's really formal, and I've got to do a presentation to 250 parents. I might want to practice that first. So what I can do is I can go rehearse with coach. And it tells me here, it will give me feedback about how I'm presenting. So it will pick up things like if I say and like that, but also if I speak too fast, if I say anything that's perhaps not appropriate, if I use slang words and things. Let's just give it a real quick go. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you today about Microsoft Teams for Education. Stephen Payne, Learning Delivery Specialist. That's me. So I'm going to talk to you. Okay, so I've been told to talk a little bit slower. Okay. So Microsoft Teams is the digital hub that brings conversations, content, assignments and apps together in one place. You can, what am I doing now? Oh, I'm reading the slides. So it's warning me that I shouldn't be reading the slides. Okay, so let me go on to the next page. And there's a team here and I don't know what that is. Classes. Okay, and now I'm saying a lot. Okay, cool. So I think you get the idea there. I was very I'm going to just escape that, and it comes up with a nice little summary of how I did. And I love that however badly I've done, it always says good job rehearsing, because rehearsing is always good. So what's happened here? I have I've tried avoiding. Okay, so I read what was on the slide. That's bad. I can try and change that. Luckily, I didn't use any sensitive phrases, so I didn't say anything that might be offensive to minority groups and those sorts of things. My pace was good. It started off a bit fast, but I slowed down. And okay, how was this? So I need to increase my tone for key points. Okay, I think I need to speak to my English teacher about what that means. And then it tells me if I say or quite often when I work with students, they use like and things like that to fill in gaps. So it's really great little tool to give you feedback about how you're doing when you're presenting a PowerPoint presentation. Yep, so it's just slideshow, rehearse with coach. Excellent. So that really is just a, oh, there it is, rehearse. I just had a picture there as well, but much better to show you live. So it picks up things like if you say the disabled, that it prefers you to say people with disabilities. Call a spade is jargon. You guys is not gender inclusive, so perhaps say you people or team or whatever you want to say. So that's the presentation coach, which I think is really powerful, and it's free for all staff and students to use. So all of the things that I've been talking about today, hopefully Amanda's shared some links or Sarah shared some links with you in the chat. They will also be available on the Solutions IT website after today. And I just wanted to bring your attention to a couple of links that I use a lot. If you go to education.microsoft.com, this is where all of the Microsoft courses and resources, lesson plans and those sorts of things are housed. So if you want to find out more about the Immersive Reader, just come to the Educator Centre, click for Browse Resources, and you can just search for Immersive Reader or Office Lens or PowerPoint or whatever it is you want to find out more about. So the courses over here are sort of more involved. They average about an hour long, and you can sit for an hour and learn about the inclusive tools for reading, or you can learn about using maths in OneNote. Or you can learn about making better presentations in PowerPoint or Sway. And then if you click on resources, there's actually content here for to help families learn at home, and useful things on accessibility and settings and lots of different resources. So do check out education.microsoft.com. That's generally my starting point for delving further. And then I had one other link, but it seems to have gone, and that was there was a link to the Immersive Reader and other accessibility tools. There's a Sway. I hope Sarah has found that and shared that.
Steve, I shared that one in earlier.
Excellent. Thanks, Amanda. Well, I'm going to pause there and see if there are any questions.
Stephen, I've just got one sitting here saying, in terms of accessibility, how do I make the arrow larger on the screen so students can see it clearer? Our Windows 10 settings. Can you demo that one offhand, or I'll find an Office support article?
Yeah, I can. I think I can show that. Let me see. I haven't done that for a while, but yes, you can. So you can make your tiny little arrow. That's a really great. That's a really great thing. So if you go into settings and search for mouse pointer. So I've just gone down to search, change mouse pointer size, and then you can make it as large as you need, which is really great, particularly if you're demonstrating something remotely. So I've now got a black mouse, and now you can see nice and clearly that where I'm pointing to areas, that's pretty cool. So now you can see, in fact, that's such a great question. That's reminded me that now I'm going to do this in the webinars I'm doing for the rest of the week. So thanks whoever asked that. It's just go to search and search for mouse pointer size, and then away you go. I love it. Anything else, Amanda or Sarah?
I think I've pretty much answered a few. We had a person, I just highlighted the fact that if you're not on the latest update of Word, you may not see the Immersive Reader button. It might be called Learning Tools, but you can always access it through the Word Online version. So yeah, and just highlighting that the subtitles in PowerPoint is similar. If you can't see that in your version of PowerPoint, then you can access that online as well. If not, try to update your version of Office.
Yeah, I'd just add to that. I think particularly with the Department of Education WA, if you've got a school managed computer, your version that's installed of Office is going to be a little bit out of date. However, if you go to office.com and access the tools online, you'll always have the latest version there. And all the things I've just demoed today, the PowerPoint, subtitles, presentation coach, Immersive Reader, maths tools in OneNote, they're all available in the online version. So I'm going to hand over to Sarah to finish off the session, but thanks very much, Amanda, for sharing out those links and answering the questions as we went through.
No worries.
Thanks very much, Stephen and Amanda. That was really great. I actually learned a great big deal there too. Just once again, the recording, if we've got your email address, I will send you a link to the recording. And if for any reason you don't get that, just head on to our website and go to our news page and you'll be able to access it there. On behalf of Solutions IT, I'd just like to thank you all for attending today. Thank you.